Hello and welcome to the second episode of Rachel Reviews Board Games, and I want to thank everybody's kind encouragement and support from my first video on Kingdom Builder, which I will put in the link, let's say here, because it's encouraged me to go on to the second episode. I'm going to do a series, just so you guys know what's coming up, on shorter games that I like, so I can do reviews that clock in maybe under 10 minutes, and then hopefully work my way up to, I just got Combat Commander Napoleon, so I will tell you guys about that. So that's what's coming up. I'm going to do No Thanks today, and then after that I'm going to do Hey That's My Fish, and after that Friday. But getting to No Thanks, this is my favorite filler game, and it has been for a while, and I actually really like it as a gateway game too. It's a very simple game. There's only 2 things you can do on each turn, which is my favorite kind of game for particularly gateway games, where you're not overwhelming people with rules, but at the same time show the fun of cumulative effects. No Thanks is a push your luck game. Very few components. It's got a very low price point. I think I got this for somewhere between I think I got it for $8, which you'll see when I open it up that the components are nothing to write home about, but at the same time it makes gaming very accessible, which is something I always like in a game. Considering I'm a college student, you know, price point's important to me. So a great game at a low price point that plays quick. It's for 3 to 5 players. It plays in under 20 minutes, and it says for 8+. I think you could probably get a 7-year-old to play this. I babysit an 8 and a 6-year-old, and I haven't brought this to them yet, but I think that they might be able to play this. But without further ado, I'll just open it up, tell you how to play, and then I'll conclude further about why I like it so much and who's it for, and yeah, see you at the cutscene. So No Thanks comes with 55 of these red tokens that are worth -1 points, and also cards 3 through 35 that you shuffle. And to set up, all you do is you give 11 tokens to each player. I have this set up for 3 players, so each of them get 11 tokens. And then also what you do is you shuffle, and then you remove 9 cards from the deck, so you don't know which ones they are, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you put them aside. And all you do on your turn, I should say what the goal is. The goal is to end up with the lowest score. And the way you do that on a turn, a player flips up a card, in this case it's 27, and you can decide whether or not to take that card, or you put one of your chips on it, which are worth -1 points. Now I should mention that the rules say to hide your chips so that you don't know who has how much left. I play with open chips because one of my little pet peeves in gaming is hidden but trackable information, and I find that it plays just fine when you have the open chips. So you look at the card and you say, oh, this is worth 27 points. So a player might say, you know, that's too much, and they put a chip on, the next player does, and you go around until someone finally takes the card. The other important part of this game is that when you get a run, so let's say you have 27 and 28, the group together is worth 27 points. So someone might want to go around, and even though there's not enough -1 chips to count out 27 points, they might say, you know what, this is good enough for me, I'll take that and all these chips. So now they have more capacity to pass on bad cards, and the player who takes the card flips the card over, and they go on again, and they start the passing. You keep going until another player takes a card. And that's really it. So as you can see, there's really not too much for this game, and on a given turn there aren't too many decisions to make, but there is this kind of evolving strategy where you're trying to kind of evaluate whether it's better to have more tokens, or, you know, work on having lower cards but putting yourself at risk to having to just take higher cards as you lose tokens, so you can't pass on those really hard higher cards. And I find that it's really tense at moments. That's really hard, that you don't usually see in a 20-minute game, particularly when you have moments of you're starting to get to the bottom of the deck and you have a 20 and a 22 and you really want that 21, but you're not sure it's in the deck because 9 cards were removed at the beginning of the game. And it's a game where you feel really happy when you win. You feel like you did well, you played well. But at the same time, when you lose, you don't feel too bad about it because you're like, oh, I couldn't have known that card was missing and I banked too much on it or something like that, which is a really good quality, I think, in a filler game where a win is satisfying but a lose isn't, you don't feel bad about it. That's a good position for a filler to be, which isn't to say that this game doesn't have strategy or you don't really get better at it over time. But at the same time, once you play it a lot, what makes it a good filler game, you can kind of turn off your brain and just, each decision doesn't feel horribly important, so that you can cool down from maybe a heavier game. I also have to say, too, touching back on why I said this was a good gateway game, I live in New Jersey, and when Hurricane Sandy hit, we lost our power for 10 days, and I brought No Thanks out, and I played it with my mom and my dad. And we just played it over and over and over again, and that's why I compare it to people who like gin and rummy, which I used to play with my mom a lot when I was a kid, for one of those games that a light game that you can just keep playing from game to game to game to game, kind of keeping a running score of how many you've won and kind of seeing the standard deviation over time, or comparing skills that way. You might have lost a particular game during luck, but over time, better players do tend to do better, which is satisfying, but each individual game, it's not devastating to lose. So, that's No Thanks. I feel like I should be saying more, but there's really not much else to say. If it seems too simple, I would say, still try it. It's only $8 if you're adding it in order to get your free shipping. And it's more fun than it probably looks. I mean, the mechanics seem boring. It's an abstract game. You could probably play it with a deck of cards, though I like to support the publishers, even though, you could easily make this game in a printer play. And it's, I should mention too, that the publisher is Z-Man Games. And that's it. I like No Thanks.